So we'll let this chant bring us into meditation. We'll extend to each other from inside to inside. Extend to our ancestors, our mothers and the fathers, the light, meeting the light. We extend to our awareness to all the great yogis and gurus and we have met and have the connection with through. Those people embody awareness so completely that the invisible becomes visible. And extend especially this morning to Lama Torchen. Swami Muktananda. We extend to all the different traditions that we participate in. And nowadays with geography being so tiny and information so available, initiations. And so the various traditions, they mix in our bodies and we become universal people. We can turn this tape off now. And we'll extend also that dimension of awareness, which is so mysterious. The archetypal, the vortexes, primordial energies, lights manifesting within us and the world as the world in us. We'll extend especially, as we always do, to the Dakini, the Divine Mother in her many forms. So again, this morning, I'm going to focus again on this understanding of being beyond good and evil, and yet living within this realm of goodness and evilness. Many years ago, asking Swami Muktananda some question, he answered me and saying, you know, you should really get beyond good and evil, and you should really get beyond truth and falsity, and you should really get beyond right and wrong, and better and best. Then you will live life after life, death after death, in the bliss of the self. So in a certain way, this is an ethical discussion, how action emerges out of timeless awareness through us into time. Both Dzogchen, Kazmir Shaivism, as well as even Western phenomenology, Western, like Heidegger and people like that, they are considered there are 4 times. There's the past, there's the present, and there's the future. And the 4th time is timeless awareness itself. So a great, great Dzogchen master, like Yangtang Rinpoche, would say, compassion. Compassion is the capacity to extend this awareness, this light, this energy into a person's present, and into their past, and into their future. Of course, extending it from timeless awareness. So that our understanding reflects and is based upon what has been described as the 2 ways of knowing. Muktananda would speak this way, the great Dzogchen master Longchenpa, psychoanalyst Winnicott, some of the phenomenologists. And they all describe that the most primordial way of knowing is knowing non-dualistically, through awareness. Or what some call gnosis, and others call dhyana, and still others call it direct perception. And the much more common way of knowing, the most ordinary way of knowing, is knowing through our mind, and through the instruments of our mind, such as thinking, and feeling, and sensation, memory, and imagination. And this knowing is the mode of knowing difference, singularity, dualistic, me and you, us and them, this and that. This knowing of duality is the mode of knowing within appearance, knowing what is appearing, manifesting, both within ourselves and without, within the world, circumstances, place around us, this room. Knowing both internally and knowing externally. Because of our capacity for the skillful, simultaneous union of these 2 modes of knowing, mind integrated into this awareness. We can know duality within non-duality. And within duality, we can know non-duality. Even in this room, at this very moment, in the oneness of this room, in the non-duality of this place, this experience, there's all these differences. here. Or we can know through all the differences, the us, the oneness, the non-duality. This sublime knowing, this simultaneous union of the modes of knowing, reflects the very nature of creation, which is oneness and difference. As you know, I always love Heraclitus' coming into the marketplace, shouting. He was a bit wild. The world is total oneness and total difference. And through this simultaneous integration of the two modes of knowing, we can experience both oneness and difference through our experience of appearances. We know appearances are valid, actual. Sometimes traditions, to attain non-duality, they foreclose duality, as if it's not. This knowingness, this way of knowing, implies action. Implies action. Just as the ancient Shaivite masters would always say and declare, knowledge is action. It's not a passive witness, a cow. This form of knowingness manifests action within duality arising from the dimension of non-duality. This simultaneous knowingness is the power of compassion. Compassion self-arises from the non-duality of gnosis, and the power enters into this drama of duality within time. That's why it's so powerful. And compassion is not just a good wish. I wish you well. It's not a sentiment. It's not a funny feeling. Kumbaya. Time is the unfolding of appearance. Time is the unfolding, the ceaseless unfolding of the pairs of opposites. This power of compassion is the power of both self-liberation, becoming free, and the power of protectiveness. This power of compassion liberates us from evil, delivers us from evil, and compassion liberates us from the evil within us and the evil within our circumstances. As the great Christian prayer, the Our Father, invokes, deliver us from evil, now and at the hour of death. And compassion gives us the power of protection and protectiveness towards those so vulnerable to evil and suffering. It's quite the opposite than passivity. Oh, it's all God's will. Ha ha ho ho. The closer compassion, the closer and the more our mind is integrated with this awareness field, this field of knowingness, the more our mind is infused by the sense, the implicit felt sense of non-duality, the inner heart essence. This integration of our mind within awareness, bringing our mind into the heart. As it's said in the Gurdwara Tantra, bring your mind into the heart essence, overcomes and heals the primary developmental dissociation between mind and innate awareness. The further our mind is distant, separated from this innate relatedness of primordial, non-dual awareness, this self-manifestation of non-dual awareness, then the more our mind, my mind, your mind, becomes a thing among things. And so our thoughts become things, fixated things. Feelings become things. Sensation is a thing-like. Drivenness like a thing, mechanical thing. And so our own very subjectivity of self and otherness becomes things, marketable. Sexuality becomes thing-like. And the world itself is simply a thing. Then our very humanness does not unfold into fruitionalness. And we do not become what we are, ahama. The anima mundi disappears. The world is soul, as psyche disappears, and only thing remains. Happily, wherever there's the arising of love, wherever, whoever, there's the self-arising of non-duality within duality. Wherever there's love, there's the self-arising of compassion, compassionate protection. Or as the medievalists would say, ubi caritas et amor, Deus EBS, means wherever there's love, there's God. So they would say, God is love. And the ancient Greeks would say, love is a God. Huh? This takes us beyond religious necessity. Belief in the deity or belief in the archetypal dimension of human experience, credo, I believe, to you, is not at all the same power as the power of invocation. The power of invocation, of the archetypical realm, and the consequent bringing forth of that luminous realm into this world of appearance and experience, is great agency, self-agency. Invoking and bringing forth the power of the archetypal into situations, into our own embodiment, is truly the magical realism. Through the power of invocation, this invokingness, the power of the archetypical dimension can arise around you and through you. You don't need a special outfit to do this. Our very oneness with the archetypical dimension can bring forth goodness around us and through us and to us. Just as the power of evil can come forth through us, around us, to us. Suffering arises out of the archetypal context as well as personal causation. There's a givenness to it. Some think, some really think, they restrict the archetypical realm to the interior world of the human psychic. It's just in our minds. They think within the Cartesian Kantian philosophical framework of the basic division between subjectivity and objective world. The archetypes are fields of energy, light, information that inform both our psyche and matter. There's a continuity between the inner and the outer. The archetypical dimension, the gods, goddesses, devas, dakinis, is the manifestation, both the experience within our psyche and the phenomena of circumstances simultaneously. The archetypical dimension is both non-dualistic and dualistic, just as you and I are. The archetypal is both cosmological and personal. Evil is not simply psychological, but is cosmologically rooted and is constantly becoming psychological, becoming psychologies, like contagion. Evil is suffering, and evil is the infliction of suffering. The love of the infliction of suffering is evilness that is both personalized and archetypically manifested. Self-liberation is not earned. It's not an economical thing, collecting chips, but it's naturally given to everyone. This natural givenness is hidden by political, cultural, religious, personal, and archetypal obscurations. The darkness of Marigpa is archetypal, cultural, epical, religious, and personal. Collectively, the unconsciousness is the obscuration of natural awareness, which is natural compassion. This ethos of compassion is the power to perceive through the union of mind and awareness. It's the power to perceive through the union, not one without the other, of mind and awareness simultaneously in the immediacy of the lived context, in the immediacy of the lived situation, and in the lived immediacy of this experience of the self-arising, of non-duality, manifesting within duality. Non-duality infusing duality, and duality infusing our experience of non-duality. This is the true hermeneutic circle of self-liberation. Self-liberation happens through the simultaneous experience of the very presence of goodness and the very presence of evilness, and the intertwining of both in the here and the nowness. This intertwiningness is the archetypical, rather the alchemical mixture of both psyche and circumstances. The fire of self-liberation is the fire of these elements combining with an appearance and experience. And this is the self-liberation within the momentum, within the very moment of our living, day after day, moment after moment, here and now. Lama Tarjan Rinpoche, great Dzogchen master, would say so often how we relate to appearances directly, completely influences self-realization and self-realization. We, you and I, through our experience of goodness and evilness, our experience of the intertwining of both goodness and evilness, there's this ongoing intensification of liberating self-experience, the fire of self-liberation. And through our experience of being within mind-awareness union, mind, awareness union, and the experience of this conjunctio, of the self-arising, of the confluence, this fire of goodness and evilness, liberation takes place in its multidimensionality. Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya. Within Dharmakaya, the infinity of pure potential space, there's only purity, kadig. There's only total goodness. As no thingness, manifesting everything and anything within the Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya realms. Nirmanakaya is flesh, Sambhogakaya, the archetypes. In this experience of the dimension of appearances, of duality, what they call rupa, form, there's always the pairs of opposites. Always differences. And without this awareness, this base of awareness, these extremes of the opposites cannot be held. And without this base of space of awareness, luminous self-awareness, self-liberation congeals in spite of goodwill. The radiance of appearance cannot be held, since everything is the radiance of awareness, goodness and evil. Primordial awareness both manifests everything and anything, and simultaneously self-liberates us within everything and anything. So our great Qigong master, Siddha Chungwa master, Dr. Yenshin would say, nothing is unbearable. Living and being in spacious awareness, within luminous awareness, frees us to be beyond good and evil. That perception is there, and simultaneously supports in our skillfulness this self-liberation within the realm of goodness and evilness, within the intertwining of happiness and suffering. In the singularity of the moment, timelessness, entering time. The power of compassion is the power of the mastery of self-liberation through action. The power of extension, this light extension in cutting through phenomena, can free our person from configurations within our mind and configurations of compelling actions and even configurations of situations. This power of extension of this awareness can at times even free others from a compulsive mind, compulsive actions. The power of extension of awareness, cutting through, frees us from the demonic. Cutting through liberates, seeing through liberates, simultaneously seeing and experiencing the purity of all beings as being itself, and experiencing simultaneously the evilness and the goodness intertwined within all beings of form, rupa. Evilness and goodness is not simply a function of rational responsibility, as our perverted superego conjectures. Awareness, the light of awareness, metabolizes everything and anything, dissolves everything into light. Almost done. Goodness and evilness is not simply a function of freedom of choice. The very cosmology of a person brings within itself goodness and evilness, love and hate, drivenness and openness, happiness and suffering. The love of goodness and the love of benevolence is given, just as is the compellingness of the vast pleasure of evil and the pleasure of the destruction of psyche, the love of the infliction of pain on self and others, the love of Thanatos, as Freud described. Finally, as Narguna or Narjuna, 150 to 250 AD supposedly, the most important Buddhist philosopher, warns us over and over, be careful if you think you know what causality is. He says it's impossible to explain the relationship between cause and effect and how this relates to us, these entities. Any view of causation leads certain contradictions and absurdities. Any view. So Narjuna argues that causal production is really impossible to think. And the understanding such as an effect is real in a cause. Effect is real in the cause and then is produced by the cause. For the Mayamakas, which Narjuna created, is a totally absurd statement. So he says you think you know about causality, but you really don't with your concrete operational minds. You should be careful if you think you know what karma is. And yet even Narguna, in his brilliance, was incomplete. Incomplete in his understanding of emptiness, was without radiance, luminosity. But his step, like knowledge is always unfolding over time and through time, was a great step of bringing forth the cosmological dimension as source of causation. Because up to this time, it was just chunks of causality, and there was no cosmological basis. Almost done. So this focus on mind as knowingness and an awareness as knowingness opens up for us an ethos of discrimination. The two modes of knowing are necessary for the ethos of compassionate action. There actually is self-agency. There actually is self giving compassion to another self. And it is actually true that gnosis, as non-duality, is beyond good and evil. And yet gnosis, being beyond good and evil, illuminates most clearly through the mind the goodness and evilness of our character and others. Self-liberation, if you really want it, is simultaneously being in non-duality within duality, and within duality being in non-duality. Through the very circumstances of everydayness. Being beyond good and evil within the realm of happiness and suffering is the power of compassion. So remaining in awareness. We'll do an invocation together. Again, I'm going to be using, this is called the Profound Dakini Longevity Practice. You don't have to visualize. It's more invoking the felt sense of what's arising within you. In our heart center is the wisdom Dakini, the Deva. And the heart center is bound shut by cross Vajra. Vajra is like symbols, they're light, indestructible light. And in this hollow, in this opening within, is the sun and the moon light as an amulet box inside of our chest, psychic heart. With the central Hri, H-R-I, seed syllable, Hri, ablaze with light. And the sun and this moon amulet opens. You can open it. And light radiates forth, pervading the immediacy of the situation and the furthest reaches of the sky. Has that much power. Self-arising. And so our damaged and depleted life spirits and lifespan, and all the essence of the vitality of cyclic existence itself, and complete peace, both animate and inanimate, begin to become gathered together. So as the light radiates out, it's gathering. Just like when we extend to the yogis and traditions. It begins to gather together in forms of Amrita, light rays. And then this dissolves into us. And the substances within our body. And we experience the accomplishment, the coming to be of deathless life, deathless awareness, unbornness, undyingness. Primordial awareness. And so the great bliss, this bliss of wisdom, arises, pulsating, vibrating. And then there's this root mantra, Oriyana Shradrum. Then Hri. And in this realm, this dimension of fully blossomed lotuses, in this magnetizing mandala of blazing great bliss, magnetizing, the Kurukula, this capacity to magnetize and bring into yourself, in the field of yourself, blazing great bliss. And inside you, this circle, this palace within you, the longevity, the inner life, the wisdom dakini of immortality arises, as well as hundreds of thousands of dakinis from all the enlightened dimensions arising. Presences pulsating. And with their emanated assemblies of these feminine envoys, these companions, are densely gathered together like countless motes of dust in sun rays, whirling, swirling. So here and now, we invoke wisdom awareness for ourselves and for each other. Summoning forth, bringing forth our life spirits and lifespans which have wandered away, been scattered, fragmented, stolen, and snatched by elemental spirits. Hungry ghost. And summoning them from the hands of every arrogant spirit, bringing it back, dissolving this essence, these essences, we're collecting these essences of earth essence, Gri, Ma, fire essence, Ni, water essence, wind, space, Ma, space, into our flesh, into our blood, into our breath, into our awareness, mind. And so our lifespans, virtue, glories, qualities, strength, as living beings, we experience these blessings, these gifts, and the longevity accomplishment of sages and masters of awareness. That means we're relating to those traditions of the sages, the masters of awareness. Participating. Gathering them together into the vital essence of our body, of our mind, and speech. Speech means here the energy. And generating the splendor and the radiance of never-waning youthfulness, youthful vast body, body of light, increasing joy, jouissance, and happiness, freeing us from illness, and firmly establishing the immortal Vajra life channel. That's that column of light that goes right through your body, into the earth, through your heart, up into the sky. On the physical level, it's the Sushumna, which is free of birth, death, aging, debilitation. This indestructible, youthful, vast body of light, luminous flesh. And granted, giving it, accepting it as the accomplishment of sacred eternity. With this moment, fear of death dissolves. Summoning thus this Amrita, like viscous light, fills our bodies. The essence collects into Hri, right in the center of the heart essence. And the amulet box closes, and the cross Vajras, these spokes, which are strings of light, bind it shut, like you're holding it within you. And then you can feel this indestructible, vital life force is accomplished. The vital life force is the power of awareness itself. Life and awareness simultaneously. Then it says, this refined vital essence of the accomplishment of longevity is like concealed within the core of this indestructible awareness mind union. And it is the expanse of the great mother of changeless space. Indestructible and beyond disintegration. And it's sealed. And then there's a sealing thing. Dharmadhatu, ah, ah, ah. We can say that bit. Ah, ah, ah. Then it says Hum, beloved wisdom Dakini, the sovereign of longevity, free us of obscurations, that we may live in this birthless, deathless body of awareness. Grant us this accomplishment of immortal life. Ayurvana Sadram Hum. It says, thus the vital longevity, never waning youthfulness, the eternal luminous sense, and the Vajra vital channels are accomplished Samaya. With that, we can rub our hands together and place it on our heart in that sealing-like gesture. I'd like to thank everybody for coming today in this cold morning. I had even had trouble coming downstairs. Putting my clothes. So, one of the things we have on Saturday, and it's actually working nice, we've had it for years, but sometimes on and off, is Dakini Day. It's actually my favorite day. And it's maybe Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock. We're no longer using internet, which costs us billions of dollars. And Zoom is free, which is so cool. And so if you want, you can come on Zoom. You can Zoom in at 8 o'clock in the morning. And usually we have a video talk of Lama Torchen, who is so great. So contemporary. And we've been hearing him since probably 2002 every Saturday. And we put DVD of him. And I'm thinking in light of some of this stuff we've been talking about, I think we'll put on his Vajra Kalaya teachings. That's the teaching of the dagger, the sword, this cutting through phenomena. And we'll probably put that on. There's some little sheets upstairs that have directions how you come on Zoom. And you're welcome to come on at 8 o'clock in the morning. It usually go from 8 to 9:30, sometimes just 8 to 9. So there's a talk, and then we do some form of Dakini practices, invoking the Dakini, who symbolizes Gnosis. You're welcome to do that if you'd like. Is there any other announcements? This practice just now? Not really, not really. You can, yeah, the Dakini, the Dakini mantra, Om Yana Dakini Bam Maharini Siddhi Hong, that covers a lot of territory. And if you want Om, Ahung, if you want to say, that opens up the three dimensions. This dimension of the flesh, the dimension of the archetypes, dimension of the pure potentiality. Om Ahung, Yana, direct perception, Dakini, Bam, seed syllable, Maharinisa, Ma, and sometimes you can place them on your body this if you want to, but if you get too specific and too detailed, it becomes a thing-like thing. But if you can do it easily, Ma means space, Ma Ha for space top of the head, Ma Ha is water element, Ma Ha Ri earth element, yellow, Ha is white, yellow light, Ri red fire heart, Maharin Sa. Sa. Yeah, Ni is heart. Sa is air, green. Maharinisa, city home. I will give us the power, the cities of this mantra. Huh? Invoking the mantra brings forth that capacity. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. You're welcome to meditate. To 9 o'clock, there's refreshments upstairs, and I'll put another chant on right now. Anything else? Great. Good luck. See you later. All these things and these things with both Shaivism, it's all actually born out of shamanism, huh? This power of invocation. Prayer in this is not so much begging outside help, it's really the power of the invocation, bringing forth these dimensions within ourselves.